Hello, everybody. So we did a lab on Thursday with the other class, and obviously we cannot do the lab with you. However, you can do the lab on your own, and that is what we are going to have you do. So let us take a look at what this lab is. We have just started a unit on energy, and we want to figure out what goes into the major energies that we are going to be discussing. So your job is going to be to tell us what is important in these energies. What gives you more of this type of energy and what gives you less of this type of energy. From there, we can derive the equations. All right, so let's take a look. First, so analyzing the ability to do something, we have a mini lab, and we need to discuss what exactly we're going to use to do this lab. All right. Obviously, we don't have carts, we don't have masses, we don't have chalk, so we're going to have you guys come up with these things. So, things that you can use. For example, 2 books. You'll notice each book is of different mass. You can also have 2 bottles, each one of different mass. Anything that you can drop and that is not going to be significantly damaged or create a mess is fair game for this one. The other thing that you're going to need is if you have a toy car or a couple of toy cars of different mass, those would be useful. You can also do this with a ball or a pair of balls like a basketball and a baseball. Either way, you need 2 things that you can roll and 2 things that you can drop, both of different masses. Here's what you're going to do with them. 1, with the objects of different mass, the first experiment is to drop them both from the same height. Then you are going to take one of them, all right, and drop it from one height and then a higher height. So when you take a look at this experiment here, you're going to draw a description and a picture of this experiment. All right, write a short description of what you used, and then the results of the experiment. Did you have more or less energy? I'll talk about how to measure that in a second. Then answer the question here, then move on. And now you're going to take your rolling object, whatever it is, and ram it into a wall, or if you don't want to damage the wall, you could use a book or a door, whatever you want to bash it into. And you're going to test the same object at 2 different speeds, so it goes fast or it goes slower, and you're going to test 2 different masses. So if you only have one rolling object, like one toy car or something, what you could do is you could attach some, tape something on top of it to make it a bit more massive, give it more mass. Now, the problem is we have to figure out how to measure this. So what we have here is you could think about how hard it hits. So how hard the book hits the floor, how hard the thing smashes. The question is, how do you know? So you could use sound, right? You could use, if you have any like potato chips or you have like little goldfish or Ritz crackers or something like that, you could put those underneath it or tape them up to the wall and then smash the things into them, because it will take energy to break the things up, and so you can measure how much breakage you get, okay? Be mindful not to leave a mess. I suppose your parents are probably not going to thank you for making a huge one, but this might be a useful way to do it. Okay, so then here you're going to answer the questions. All right, don't worry about the equation. We're going to go through that a little later in the class, and we're going to go over what does this. And then here are some notes for you as to what systems are, some of the other types of energy, and what work is. And this one here, I would suggest you look at because it talks about work being done by objects when the force is in a different direction than the movement of the object, in the same direction as the movement, etc. And then finally, answer these questions to finish up the lab. I am going to come on, or Mr. Buchanan is going to come on and discuss this later in the lesson. So make sure that you have all of this done by then. All right? Have a nice lab.